All right, where's the video? There it is. All right, I was concerned. I didn't have any video for a moment. Well, I look over here now because I'm not using StreamYard. Therefore, I have to drag some things around for the chat. Oh, where did the chat go? Well, now I've misplaced it. There it is. Gotta make sure it's available for me to see. Welcome to Vlog Thursday number 457. And I'm doing this with out StreamYard now. StreamYard's a tool I've been using for a while. We'll just say that their price went up to a ridiculous level. StreamYard was like $89 a month, and it's like, this is a really simple tool. And $89 is for like their whatever business or premium they had at the time. I think they have something bigger, but they raised it to $360 a month. So I decided to not use it anymore. And so now this is a straight OBS, which also probably is better looking in terms of that. But it's just, it's crazy how much, like, I got a bill for $350. I sent out a nasty 2 emails to them wanting a refund, and I'll see if I get it. Hold on, I got the lights set wrong. There, that'll fix the lights. All right. Now it's tricky because I was pulling the chat up that way, and now the chat's on there. Is it useful? Should I make it bigger? I'm still like figuring this out in real time because I made sure the live stream worked, but I didn't really do a lot with this. So if we change this to 400 by, let's see if this looks better. Oh, that's more readable. These are the fine tuning things. No chat needed. Yeah, some people said they don't like the chat on here. I just like it because I can read the questions. That's my purpose for it. But yeah. Chat is useful if you're watching an After Effects. Yeah, I don't know if I should overlay it or not. It's kind of a very optional thing. I guess all of you can see it. It's for the afterwards, but I think you can turn it on afterwards. I don't know. You folks, this is me doing it for you. We can vote of some sort. I don't know how this should work. Like, yay or nay on the chat. I guess that's really what I'm asking. I don't know if it should or shouldn't be there. Now, I do have more than one camera angle set up. This is stuff I had to work on last night because I only found out last night about the whole StreamYard thing. And so now I have this over here, which, by the way, I think the audio should still be good if I'm doing this. Now I got to move the keyboard over. Message me on some of those solutions. I see people throwing them in the chat. Message me on those because I will look at them. But one of the problems I have with a lot of these, and it's because I'm probably too security minded. That's probably a good way to put that. Too security minded, that I look at all of these as poorly written applications or potentially not well vetted applications that want to log into my YouTube account. I don't want these logged into my YouTube account. I feel that's a giant threat if these third-party companies have anything more than my stream key. I don't even have OBS logged into my YouTube account because I don't trust it. It just has too many permissions it wants. And if someone were to poison OBS, they would then inherit those permissions. So I don't know. I could be completely overthinking it because even with StreamYard, I'm not really giving it that many permissions. I'm giving it only stream permissions. So that's, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of annoying. But hello. I'm seeing everybody in the chat here. I figured the quality is going to be a lot higher too. That's obviously a big benefit of doing this way. All right. Then add a web browser source to do that. All right. Just if you don't mind, email me Homelab at lawrencesystems.com, vlog Thursday at lawrencesystems.com. Either one of those they go to the same box. I have all those different emails I've displayed all go to one specific spot. So it's easy for me to find. So yeah, just fire off an email on that. All right, now let's get to some of the topics. Oh, that's interesting. You need to change the resolution. All right. YouTube's giving me an error. Yeah, I think N8N is pretty cool. It's something I've been looking at and probably will do some videos on to build out automation. I need to replace, wow, what's the tool I'm using? Zapier. I want to replace Zapier and then do a few other things and move it down to some other functions. Yeah, you know, it's weird. I thought the stream output was set to 1080. I don't know if I can change it on the fly or not, but it's telling me I need to change it. The current, which is not supported. Hold on, let me read the full error. For this configuration, the expected video resolution is 1920 x 20. Well, I was curious. Will it let me change this on the fly? It says it's doing 1080. That's what's weird about this. It claims to be doing it. And it won't let me change it while I'm live. I'd have to stop it. So whatever. It's the OBS canvas size. So is the canvas size is under... Well, the problem is, and I guess probably I should switch it for streaming. I usually use a canvas size of 4K because that's what I capture at for the recording. So yeah. The recording says the recording I want in 4K. I don't want the there. So the output resolution. But what I don't want to do is break through recording. So I will play with these afterwards because it won't let me do it right now anyways. Canvas can be higher. So as long as I change the output scaled resolution down. Interesting. You know, I guess, I don't know. I could mess with this because all I got to, if I stop and start it, I don't know what'll happen. I don't want it to like create a new stream. That might be a problem. Who knows? All right. Well, I'm not here. Thank you everyone who's helping me with OBS. You can do it. I'll see. So do we do it? All right. I mean, I'm curious and some of you are curious. So I'm going to hit stop streaming just for a moment, change the resolution and see if it works. So one moment, please bear with me. We might need to refresh. Let's find out. All right. I'm going to hit it now. All right. I appear to be back and the error's gone with a few less pixels. All right, cool. All right, it worked. It worked. Hey, we can actually get to the business side of things here, which is funny because I literally, when I started the stream back again, it suggested I insert an ad. So insert an ad. Thank you, Meter, for being the sponsor this month at Lawrence Systems. Meter's a interesting company. They are... check out their website first, because by the way, their website's really cool. But we're thanking them for being a sponsor. Meter is a company that offers like a full stack network solution. You've maybe heard me say the ad in a couple other videos. They offer everything from a cellular backed up router. So you have your router, cellular backup, along with switching, Wi-Fi, all integrated. They even have some power distribution systems. I've tested out their system. It works pretty well. So go ahead and check out Meter, and we thank them for being a sponsor this month at Lawrence Systems. And that's their shout out they get in the vlog, but I thought it was just great timing that it said to do that. You know, I'm so distracted by technology right now, making the stream work, for example. Oh, it worked. It looks the same. You know, does this one look the same too? I don't think I mean, I know it's less pixels, but I don't think that matters. So cool. All right, so that's that view when I'm looking at this camera. Then this is this camera here. So I do have a dual camera setup. How do you manage a large photo collection? Good question. I am currently using Synology Photos, but I have it on my to-do list to use Image. So using, yeah, I see people talking about it. Image looks really interesting. There's some cool, it's finally released at the 2.0, so now I really want to try it. And I think it's probably, from what I've gathered from talking to people and not directly using it, probably the best one out there right now. I have about 90 to 100,000 photos, somewhere in between. Last I looked, I was just in the like mid 90,000s with my photos. So it's something interesting, by the way, because I use Google Takeouts. I stuck them all in Google Photos because of, and anyone who remembers this, Picasa from forever ago, which Google bought. I was using Picasa before Google bought them, and they had an option to import all your photos. I think it's funny because my photos date back over 20 years, because I've been using digital cameras for so long. So Google does this thing like, hey, let's recall this event, and it'll recall events from 20 years ago, which is weird because they're digital, and digital doesn't fade, and it's just kind of novel. But anyways, back to the large photo management. Image is probably what I'm going to go for on that. Now, let me pull up UniFi because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about here. I've been updating things. I put NAS on the list because Synology, I did the video the other day. And I don't know the answer to this question. I don't know how to easily answer it. There's a lot of different NAS options out there. And someone was upset and sent me a message that they're upset that I don't review all the NAS options. But I'm not a big fan of some of the closed source ones out there. Like first, QNAP, elephant in the room. I've done a video on QNAP and their terrible security. I don't know anyone that's told me they have a wonderful experience with QNAP. I even learned, and I don't know how this works exactly, but me and Jeff from Craft Computing are going to have a conversation about the state of networking on the next live stream that me and Jeff do, the Talking Head one, because I learned that QNAP licenses speed. And I was like, what? Some of their switches have licenses that limit what speeds you can use. So more bad for QNAP. TrueNAS is kind of the dominant player because it's the biggest open source solution out there that uses ZFS. I know Synology is closed source, but the reason Synology is popular, and I said this in a video, just the one I published yesterday, Synology offers you I feel like I should be talking to the big camera for this. It's a big camera conversation. Synology does a great job. Oh, come on, focus. All right. I couldn't deal with me being blurry. Anyways, Synology offers their active backup. Active backup is solid. It works great. I am very happy with it. I can't find a cheaper solution to back up my Office files. Like if you're using Office 365, or in my case, I'm using G Suite, and we have lots of clients using Office 365 backup with it. All the other companies charge a lot of licenses plus storage. Well, you buy the storage, you pay once, you get the license with it. I know someone did comment, well, I wonder if Synology will try to license that. And honestly, that would remove any value propositions Synology has. Like Synology's value proposition is buying their hardware with a license. If the moment they went to license the software, their hardware becomes less interesting to people. Because as many Homelab people love to point out repeatedly, Tom, did you know Synology is using a 5-year-old processor in this, or 2-year-old processor, whatever it is. It's not cutting edge, it's not fast. And I don't buy Synology because they build the latest hardware. I've bought Synology many times and provided it as a solution for a lot of businesses because I don't know anything else that will, for that price. Let's say I have 200 users in Microsoft Office and I need to back it up. They start pricing it around if they have a lot of data that's in Office 365 and they go, that's expensive. And then they buy a Synology and go, that's not expensive. And they go, but we should have 2 copies. Sure, you got one in the cloud, you got one on site, and then you buy another Synology and just back up one Synology to another Synology, and now you've created a really good backup solution that is also good for compliance, and it's not that expensive compared to the other products out there. It is, yeah. And I see other people saying the same thing. Would SyncThing work for photos? Yes, you can use SyncThing for photos as well. But SyncThing can be, now they fixed this in version 2. And I don't understand the perspective some people had. Some people were trying to sync 90,000 plus photos with it. And that's going to be challenging with SyncThing. So they updated the back end of SyncThing. They did some re-engineering to better handle large volumes of files, large file counts, I should say. So when the file count gets really high, SyncThing now handles it better. But of course, the upgrade process breaks things. And I told some people just re-index it, which they're like, that's going to take hours. And I'm like, it's probably the fastest path forward. Other people said, well, if it's going to take hours, I'm just going to look at a different product. I'm like, okay. Is there another open source synchronization tool I'm not aware of? And because they were looking at a couple closed source ones, but SyncThing is still good for a lot of that. Kind of coming back to the Synology thing though, the active backup is definitely where it's at. And a few other things. I've actually tested out the Synology Office. I've used it. I put a bunch of documents there just to test it for a few months. I shrugged my shoulders and said it worked. It's not exciting, but it's a very functional product. The more important thing is it doesn't seem to break with updates. Looking at you, Nextcloud. Yeah. So Synology's, Synology did revert their third-party policy they had for HDD. I don't really, I slightly, very slightly, only for the enterprise market, understand why they would do that. And it's only for the enterprise market. Once you get outside the enterprise market, I'm like, why would you do that? And it's just kind of, I don't know if it's a greed thing or, some very disconnected manager decided they don't want to be associated with like problems, data loss. I don't know. And by the way, the hard drive manufacturers, the debacle we've dealt with some of the hard drive manufacturers has truly broken trust with some of them. You spend time reading through the shenanigans they've pulled. There was one about the different cache speeds that were on the drives, like the chips that were on them being different that were sent to reviewers. This is a number of years ago, so it's not like recent stuff. Obviously, the CMR, SMR controversy, and those drives should have never been put in the NAS. And I think a warning is fair on that, but it's partly the drive manufacturers not being as clear as they could be on things. So I kind of, like this much, very, very little go, hey, a warning. I get why you'd want to do it. Like you should issue some warnings to people like these are terrible drives. Don't use them in your NAS. But locking people out of creating a pool with them, that feels like a step too far. Like I get it. And you're not selling these to average consumers. You're selling them to more technical audiences who, there's at least a subset of you that has shucked a few drives and done all kinds of funny things to, find budget storage. You're talking about people who know how to assess, hopefully, some of the risk and build these. So don't put a nanny system around us. Yeah. Back to the question of, and I don't know the answer to this. I don't know enough about or have used the Proxmox backup server. I don't use it. So I don't really have. I'm going to set one up because I'm curious about it. I have a system over there I got Proxmox set up on, so I'm doing some Proxmox things. But I like XCP-ng as a hypervisor just a lot better, even after the more I play with Proxmox. Maybe I'll do an updated comparison where I actually talk side by side and show you the two interfaces. They're just very different approaches to things. It's not that Proxmox is bad or anything like that, but I don't know enough about the Proxmox backup server. I have had some people tell me it's buggy, but this is the big but right here. A lot of those people are random people on the internet that I don't know. And the people I trust, like me and Wendell from Level 1 Techs are friends. I trust Wendell's opinion on technology. He likes Proxmox, and there's some quirkiness thing. I don't know if I haven't asked him about Proxmox backup server. I don't know if he uses it. And my friends at 45 Drives, they use Proxmox in the commercial setting. So I would like to hear their insights on it. I haven't really talked to them about Proxmox Backup Server, but I have some conversations that I've started because I'm curious. But first, I'm going to have better questions because I'm going through the trouble of setting up Proxmox. I'm going to go through the trouble of setting up the backup server. Then I will ask my questions. I want to do it from my own perspective first. So hard to say. Okay, so someone said Proxmox Backup Server is only for VMs and LXCs. Okay, I thought there was some feature it had. This is where I seen somebody arguing on Reddit and saying it does have support for other things. I haven't used it. So once again, coming from an uneducated spot. Yeah, once again, there are people in the chat who seem to also be in disagreement of what it does or does not do. I don't know what it does or does not do. So let's see here. What I do know is I can talk about other things here. Something I wanted to bring up, and I didn't know this to put it in the video. So this became kind of a afterthought, so to speak. And I get, at first I thought the person was right. Well, numerous people told me the kill switch for VPNs didn't work. And it does work. So let me move the chat over here. Oh, there we go. But the kill switch problem. So when you're creating policies, you have this option right here that says kill switch. And what the kill switch does is if the VPN drops, and I have this one system called VPN test. Now, I've done this with pfSense as well. So people who are going, Tom, why don't you do a video on pfSense about this? I have done it. If I did it again today, I would just redo the same video. Maybe I should upload the pfSense video again because people are wanting a new video on pfSense, but it hasn't changed enough. So anyways, getting off topic. The kill switch works a little bit different in UniFi than it does in other systems. And specifically with pfSense, maybe OpenSense as well. So we can just check the kill switch box. And if this VPN goes down, it will stop routing traffic for that device. That's what that feature is. Except if I go here and I pause this VPN, I stop this VPN from working. I choose to stop it from working. Then it breaks the kill switch. Even though, so when you do a pause, and we'll do this real quick, we'll hit pause. Are you sure you want to pause it? Yes. Done. So now this isn't a paused state. So I can just re-enable it, but it's paused. It's no connection established. It's not in a working order. So it says, no, not connected, no connection. But the policy still says route traffic out this right here. Well, it won't because this doesn't exist right now. It's in the list, but it doesn't exist. So this now is routing traffic out my default gateway, which may not be what you were looking for. And that little nuance is kind of important for people to understand whether or not they're doing things behind a VPN or not. So we'll go ahead and resume it, which will bring the policy back. Now, if this VPN fails to establish after, like it's working now, it's connecting, it's going to connect. And I didn't include that in the video because, technically it works as expected. It's just that little nuance of knowing that pausing it does that. That, I guess, is a little bit of a problem. So, yeah, that's an issue. Do I think any RAID will make ZFS popular for home users? Probably. Just generally speaking, the more flexibility that you're getting in RAID, I think probably will lend itself to that. But I'm going to say flat out, ZFS is extremely popular for home users by far. The ZFS is not an unpopular system by any measure. So therefore, it will increase popularity because it allows more flexible configurations with any RAID. But Yeah, so it's a good thing, but it's not, I don't think it's everyone's deciding factor. Anyone who does any large storage, many of you in the home user space do that, you end up liking ZFS. I'm looking for something. 1 second. All right, I got what I wanted. Sorry about the distraction. So yeah, it'll be interesting. What do I think of TrueNAS Connect? It's pretty cool. I have not spent time using it yet, though, enough to have any opinion. I think they put it out today. I knew about it beforehand because I got previews of it. So this is the TrueNAS Connect. I like this is something needed. So this is a lot better and more enhanced than the previous setup, which was the True Command. So this is next iteration, next generation. So yes, I like where they're going with it. I did get a little bit of a preview of things. Great idea. I need to spend some time with it, though. I've been upgrading all my systems to TrueNAS 25, even though it's in release candidate. So far, all the systems I've updated have no problems. I have a few more to go, and I want to do some swapping out of my main NAS that I edit all my videos on. I need to migrate it because it's old. It works fine. I don't know. I got to figure out who to give it to when I'm done because the drives are coming out of it. I still have some other drives I can probably, I don't know, I'll figure out what friend needs it. It's an older TrueNAS. It does support 10 gig. It's just kind of slow, but fast enough for 10 gig with I edit, my videos are in 4K 30. So it has no problem being an editing box for 4K 30 video. Let's see here. Well, I need to make this chat bigger so I can read this. You would like a video on how, this is interesting. So you want I can make myself bigger now. This is kind of fun. I feel like this is easier than StreamYard anyways for doing this. I have not tested the new Cosmic. It's on my to-do list. I'm going to load the new Cosmic beta on my laptop. How-to video OpenZFS on plain Pop! OS or Debian Ubuntu would be nice. I don't know. It's not. Ubuntu supports it. I have no idea if it's well supported in Pop! OS. It is supported in newer version of Ubuntu. You can run OpenZFS with Ubuntu. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd have to understand the use case. Because I don't even bother running ZFS on my laptop or my desktop. It just feels, unless you have an array of drives in the system, it feels not necessary. It feels like extra complexity. Yeah, that's what I'm working on as a TrueNAS 25 video, which is why I've been updating my systems to TrueNAS 25. What do you think the best way to run software that is Windows only based? I would probably say VirtualBox. That's how I run. If I have to run something in Windows, I do it with VirtualBox. Cosmic Beta is nice. Lots of potential. Yeah. Have I installed BSD as a home enterprise server? I don't need the pain from that. So no, I have no interest in it. Years ago, I tried it. I don't know where they're at today, but they always had driver problems in BSD. Matter of fact, that's one, driver problems are among the cited reasons in Docker of why TrueNAS kind of moved off of the BSD world and into the Linux world to get all that wonderful Docker support and better driver support. The lack of driver support makes me stay away from BSD. It also, I don't think my editing tools I use for like DaVinci Resolve will work inside of BSD. You've been helping with people who have 4 to 6 drives on an old PC. I mean, I would just load TrueNAS on it. I know maybe that's a lazy answer. But TrueNAS gives you such a nice web UI on top of ZFS. So if I'm going to manage it, because I know how to manage ZFS from the command line, and I could just spend all day building scripts and modifying things and building replication tasks from the command line with a series of cron jobs, or I could just use TrueNAS, which does all of that. It's the same way. Someone in my forums was asking about like rebuilding WireGuard with a lot of features so they could do firewall rules and VPN and routes and not use Masquerade and that. And I was like, there's not a good tutorial I can link to because most people just use a firewall because it has all those features. You could not use a firewall and load Linux and do it all yourself, but it's a great learning experience, but I don't do it because I already know how to do it, and I've been down that path. Matter of fact, we had a really interesting consultant job I picked up. Well, we actually turned it down, but it was a really smart guy, brilliant. I really applauded the work he had done. He worked for a small, private college, university, real small one in a rural area. Took their computer class, brought their systems to the next level, was a fan of my videos. He built everything from their storage systems to their firewalls, all with like Linux, and did it all from the command line. No web UI and anything. They had a problem, and he was hoping I could solve it. They couldn't find anyone who could manage all of it, and he was taking a job at some big company. So their entire system was all run from the command line, and he did a lot of automation and did some Ansible and cool things, but they couldn't find anyone to manage it. I'm like, yeah, there's a reason people use web UIs on firewalls. It's because not everyone has that skill set. They were having trouble finding someone that had that skill set that would work for, well, just say less than most sysadmins would work for. So it's one of the reasons that I just will load TrueNAS on things, or, Houston OS is nice as well. That is definitely another alternative, like load Ubuntu. Well, I take that back. I have to see where Houston is. They had some buggy issues that they may have fixed by now. I think the recommendation is still Rocky Linux, but there is a path forward of using ZFS with Houston OS that is really cute. Houston is the open source tool from 45 Drives. You don't have to own any 45 Drives hardware for that to work. It'll work on any system. I wish TrueNAS would solidify the LXC VM side of things. Just use it for storage now. Yeah, I've never... there's people that have asked me to do virtualization videos on it. I'm like, I can't because it would break after I did the video. And then I break again after I did the video because they keep making changes. So the stabilization is where some of those issues are. I also think that they've developed and stabilized the Docker side of things really well. So the Docker application seems solid on TrueNAS, and I think they work great. I am happy with the Docker implementation and how all that works. So the no problems there, but the stability of, and I think it's them trying to find their way. We'll just put it that way. Yeah, sometimes there are problems when you go from one version to the next. If you're doing your Docker stuff properly, it's probably best. And I know because it's a major version change, it probably adds more complexity, and I haven't used image to tell you what those challenges will be, but the way to set it up, and I've done this with SyncThing. When SyncThing broke, when I've had it break more than once for a couple reasons, when we were going through like the Kubernetes version over that, all it needs is that XML file, and because that is stored separately, I just purge it and then reinstall it, point it at the XML file, and it just works again. I did have to blow away the database one time because it was getting stuck, and I don't know why, but I just let it re-index all the files. I mean, it takes a little while because I have a lot of files, but I don't know. I sat and did it in the background for like an hour, and then boom, it was synchronized again. Same thing probably with image. About the Vert and TrueNAS. Oh, that's the thing. I don't know. And because they keep changing it, it's not easy for me to answer that question of what all those tabs are. So let me go to my, I think I just created this one today. I hadn't even looked in 25 what they did. I literally never used this. So the virtual machines, yeah, Tom's pretty much just never touching virtual machines in here. I mean, I will eventually when it, as someone said, when it stabilizes, but I don't know. They have the containers. It's marked as experimental. The problem with doing videos when things are experimental is the videos become irrelevant because they change it again. So it's like, to me, it's not the great place to put things. I've talked recently about this. Here is Tom's Docker, where I probably need to add more memory to it. Yeah, we're using 2.7 gigs now. I just run this Docker with all the things in it, and my life is easier. This is where Docker lives. All the Docker lives here, because why not? If all the Docker lives here, I only have one virtual machine. And if I wanted to move this, if I wanted to put a workload on a completely different virtualization, the only thing that matters is this IP address. As long as this virtual machine gets migrated over with this IP address, everything works. It doesn't care what system it's on. So I can migrate this back and forth to different hosts in my pool. I can build a new virtual pool and just migrate this whole VM over, and all my things and all the services I use, which I covered in that Docker video, work fine. And that to me is just a lot easier. Container versus virtual machine versus apps. Maybe. I feel like a lot of people have done that, and this is where I don't know how much reinventing of the wheel do I do? I don't know. Like, I might do a video on routing and subnetting because the questions come up so often about it, and that way I'm referring to my own video, but there are a lot of people who have videos on that topic. Yeah, TrueNAS doesn't make a good hypervisor. One of the things also about TrueNAS compared to any like Proxmox, Hyper-V, XCP-ng, other hypervisors popular in Homelab and VMware, of course, if you're still in that mode, they all have the ability to move the VMs around between other systems. That's not a feature of TrueNAS. TrueNAS is standalone and standalone only. And it's just to me not a great experience. I don't know. And I like TrueNAS. I'm a big TrueNAS fanboy, but except their virtualization, that's kind of where I've been drawing the line. Tom description of the CLI shows me he doesn't know much about the CLI. Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. My description of managing an entire firewall for a school system by a CLI, you think's an easy thing. Sure. I mean, it's what I've learned about the world is just because I can do it doesn't mean everybody can do it. And hence them trying to find a sysadmin to do that proved they had a hard time finding a sysadmin who would manage an entire firewall for a university from the command line. I don't, it's not a misunderstanding. Ooh, that's a good question here. And I don't think the answer is yes. Is there a way to do UniFi Protect notifications if you run it locally? I don't think so. It wouldn't, I don't think you'd be able to send them out, but you can do a webhook. I'd have to look. And it might be, they used to have an option, and I don't have, and I have another NVR I'm going to be setting up, and maybe I'll poke at this because I'm curious. It used to have an option to put your own mail server settings in so you could relay off your own mail server. I think those settings are still there. I just don't have them set up anymore because I put it in the UniFi cloud. But if you set it up, you can put your own mail server, and then yes, they would go out that way. But alternatively, you could do it with webhooks, and then you can send a notification to wherever you have your webhook set up to go. Your only VM on the TrueNAS runs Proxmox backup server. Interesting. Is it safe to encrypt an already used pool in TrueNAS, which is not encrypted for now, and being backed up to the cloud. Well, you build the data set encrypted or not encrypted. You don't change it after the fact. Has Protect. I have to look at how Protect does backup. It does archiving. I don't know that it does automatic instant backup of clips. I don't think it's real. I don't think it has a real-time backup. I got to play with that. That is on my to-do list to see, or more specifically, just to cover how the backup works to make sure it's sane, I guess you could say. Yeah, webhooks are definitely another way to do it. The challenge sometimes is even with your own mail server, there's a limited number, I would say. I'm using MailHop for a couple things still, and it seems to stay out of spam, but that's tricky. Your biggest challenge you have whenever you're using a third-party mail server is it can get into spam. I listened to the 2.5 Min Admins podcast, and I remember them ranting about this, and they're absolutely right. There was, for a time, people who were hosting things in Linode, which you're paying for a server with an IP address in Linode, and Linode is a reputable company, and they decided, well, they being Microsoft, decided they're just going to block Linode no matter what for email. So if you happen to have a mail server that you're running yourself in Linode or relaying out of a Linode IP address, they're like, yeah, we're just going to block that. And they did that for 6 months. So for 6 months, you couldn't send email. It is kind of a pain. I don't love the situation that there's kind of a monopoly on email. It's like, well, you can use Microsoft, you can use Google, and they're pretty much the dominant players. And I will admit, I'm happy to say, and I don't know that I don't have a lot of opinions on the company, so don't take this that I'm endorsing them. Proton VPN, Proton has their mail service, and I see a lot more people using it. I don't really know if it's good. I set it up myself just to see if it worked. It seems to work. So yeah, that's another. I guess they're another option that seems to be gaining some traction, but don't take that as an endorsement for Proton, because I know they've been involved in some controversies, and I have a hard time keeping up with the controversies. It's nice to find the Protect added PTZ to my third-party cameras recently. Oh, nice. Real-time backups, I have to look at, like I said, I don't know, it's not like all NASs automatically come with real-time backups. It's probably a less common feature for them. I think you can set up, I don't know, I'll have to play with it to see the backups. So hold on. Because the biggest challenge with the UniFi NVR backups, it starts with a conversation of like, oh yeah, I want to get this offsite. And then everyone's going, I don't have enough bandwidth to get these offsite. I'm like, yeah, it's a real problem. So can let's see. Yeah, I'd have to, I don't know. It's a video I'm going to dive into with the UniFi NVR. They've added so many features to it. I'll have to figure that out. But the offsite backups are usually what people are asking for. And that in itself can be pretty challenging. One of your Proton Mail IPs would be blocked like Linode. I hope not, but they could be. Any pointers on starting to benchmark TrueNAS SMB, I don't really bother a lot with benchmarking, because benchmarking tests for a specific situation. Is it your situation? I don't know. You have to tune the benchmark to what the situation you want to use it is. Is it going to be faster for this or faster for that? What is this or that? It starts with, and this is how we do consulting. What do you plan to use this for? That makes all the difference. Me and Alan Jude just did 2 different videos. They're both on my channel. If you look up Alan Jude on my video, you'll find them. We dive deep into ZFS, and we talk a lot about optimization and how it's not an answer. It's a constantly, what are you going to be doing with this? That's the question we always have to figure out, because I can optimize it for one of the things, but not all of the things at the same time. I switched from NordVPN to Proton, and you got tired of how Nord was trying to upsell you. Yeah, that's how these companies work. I used to be a mail server admin for a long time. It's something I'm very familiar with. It's also why I quit being a mail server admin. Emails had to get through, and it was just it's like, I want to send an email. And then when an email doesn't get through, you find out the client's, protection tools have now put it to spam. Now the client thinks you're not responding to them, and you're not now, because now you have to figure out why it's going to spam, and you're on the phone. You just end up spending too much time on it. It just becomes not worth it. There's a reason I use G Suite. I just need it to work. And I don't love giving Google $20 a month per user or whatever it is. It's not that much, but it is what it is. Like, the alternative is having clients upset and also spending a lot of time trying to get something off of a spam list that stops me from doing anything productive. That it is just a reality I don't love, but it is the reality we live in. There's a GPT for everything now. Yeah, I'm new to UniFi. What's the minimum config I need to replace my Plume Wi-Fi system? Is there a standalone Wi-Fi 7 device, or I have a cloud subscription or the UniFi device? UniFi doesn't require any cloud subscriptions. That's one of the nice features they have, is there's not a subscription needed for all their stuff to work. You don't even need to use their cloud, but pick up a UniFi Dream Machine of your choice is a base model to get started, and then pick a Wi-Fi of your choice. And they do make ones with built-in Wi-Fi, and maybe that's adequate. I don't know how many square feet you're trying to cover, but even the base model that has the Wi-Fi built in will let you add more Wi-Fi to that device. So you have one built in, you can add several more. Oh yeah, and then I can imagine banks not wanting to send Proton. Here's the other problem. Proton has a brand association. Like, they're privacy oriented is their claim. The other side of it is, how frequently do threat actors have a Proton address that they're emailing from? So, I mean, it is popular among that group of people as well. Therefore, it gets a reputation that makes it harder. The Docker container for the controller is probably fine. I never use it because it's not officially from UniFi. So I'm always picky about where my Docker containers come from. You can use your own domain with Proton, which is cool. But because the back end is Proton, you may have, someone said that their bank has issues with it. So I don't know. I don't use it for my business. I just used it to send some test emails back and forth, and it got through. But that's not a thorough test. Like, I emailed numerous clients already this morning, and some of them are some pretty big companies. Some of them are even publicly traded as emailing. They all have a variety of filtering systems, and I don't want to spend too much time scratching my head of why they aren't working. Yeah, you also have to make sure your SPF and DMARC and all those policies are properly set up. So you haven't had any issues with Proton using your own domain. That's great. I guess the question is always to make sure, are are you emailing the same people? Like, are you in the US? Are you emailing US banks? Those are valid things. I even have curiosity when I was emailing my bank. They weren't responding. It turns out they just weren't responding. I had called them and they're like, oh yeah, I got your email. Well, I'm like, well, you could have replied to my email and I wouldn't be on the phone with you right now. That's what I told them. I'm driven nuts because I like email and I like sending and receiving email because it's a great method to communicate with people. I believe we've had it for a long time. I am driven nuts by people who simply choose not to reply to emails on business topics that I'm in need of. I mean, answer the phone at least. Great. Hey, good. Thanks for answering my phone. Let me know that you got the email. So, well, that's good. Good to hear that it works. So overall, it sounds like Proton's pretty good. I can go with that. For my personal emails, using domains with Apple's iCloud thing has been great. Yeah, I'm not an Apple user, but I see a lot of people do that. More than anything else I see is mostly people doing, like, Gmail's probably the most popular of the ones on there. Oh, I didn't turn this back on. Oops. Maintenance mode. See, so if we just make sure this works. I'm going to do a backup because now I want to make sure after I updated the server and rebooted it, turned it on maintenance mode, let's make sure this works. See, the backup is so nice inside of here. Whee! Look how fast that goes. I love the integrated backups. This is why I like XCP-ng so much. It just makes life easy. So then we can even do a restore health check. Let's send it here. Oh, missing. Oh, I didn't. Yep, host offline. Oops. Is it connected? Yep. All right. Proton is planning to move both physically and legally from Switzerland to Norway because of changes in privacy legislation. Yeah, there's been a ton of that. That's why I did the privacy VPN video, because that's a popular topic with people right now. Man, the changes that have come over the last year, because even Germany, I seen Signal announce, and they're just doubling down on their position that if Germany starts trying to pass basically we want to put a backdoor in chat laws, then they plan to pull out of Germany. They've said this to Australia, Germany, anywhere that this is happening. And the governments just want the impossible. We want to be able to hold a key that lets us in the back door of any conversation. Well, I'm sorry, that's not how security works. And by the way, if there's something the governments can't be done, you just can't trust them with security or technology. Sorry, we can't trust them that they'll just maintain a back door and not abuse it. Sorry about your luck there. But yeah, I don't agree with that stance that governments have. It's a constant circle of things of them trying to do this. It's not new. Look up the Clipper chip, plenty of history in it. Yeah, so I see other people in Germany that are also agreeing. Have you had much success challenges moving VMDK files, as in importing VMware? No, it works. We just migrated everything at CNWR off of VMware into XCP-ng. So it works. We've done it. We've used it. So they've actually improved it a lot. The Vates migration tool has gone through a lot of iterations and become a lot faster. So you can, bring in and pull in all these systems from VMware a lot easier. Yeah. Well, governments don't like warrants because then they have to justify why they want to snoop on us. And that seems like paperwork. Who wants paperwork? Actually, I don't think anyone likes paperwork. That's just everyone. Yeah, it's not a back door exactly. I mean, it's a front door because you want basically access to my device all the time before I send something encrypted. That seems like a problem. I think it's a problem. Obviously, some of these government folks don't think it's a problem, but yeah, it's a front door. 85 VMs about to stand up my first X-host, get away from VMware. Perpetual licenses are being targeted now. Oh yeah. Well, they decided perpetual doesn't mean perpetual. Thanks for all the work you share. I'm looking to migrating from Fedora VM storage and storage server in my Homelab, maybe XUG, to ZFS storage. Does it do ZFS storage well the VM hosting? You can, but there's no management of it. So if you go in and build one of the storage options in here, we'll just say new storage. ZFS is an option, but it's not a shared storage. There's not one set up on this system either. You can do it, but there's no UI to manage it. You can select it. You can use it as a storage, but there's no ZFS tooling to do management. You have to do it from the command line. So as long as you're fine with that, it works. I've done a video on it. So I show you how to build a pool from the command line. It's completely doable. It's just not anything in the UI to tell you about it. They do have within the UI, where's it at? Here? Or is it not in this system? Oh, hold on. Is it this one? There we go. It will check the MD8M RAID if you're using that. It'll let you know that that is working. I just have mirrors for each of these, but my storage is TrueNAS. So when you look at all the storage I have here, like the HL15 is a TrueNAS box. See how, yep, it's working. We do not have any clients using Ceph with XCPNG at the moment. Not that I know of. Yeah, none of them I think are using Ceph. We have clients using Ceph. We don't have any clients using Ceph with XCPNG. Can I do shared Ceph like that too? You can do Ceph. It is supported. It's not in the list here. You have to load a module for it. I don't think it's in the list. Yeah, it's not in the list at all. You can also have Ceph present as iSCSI or NFS. I think NFS is more acceptable. If Ceph presents as NFS, you can connect XCPNG to it. So you can connect it to any, NFS share. If you have Ceph presenting NFS as the storage space and the protocol, that'll work. So that is a way to do it without having to load any extra drivers. In your lab, what's the typical size of your Docker VM, seeing you store Docker file data on NFS? I don't know. It's not very big. I mean, it's not using 80 gigs. It is 80 gigs, but using, make it prettier. It's using 18 gigs. So Is that too big? It's still readable. There you go. Make it easier to read. It's in high res, but I don't want anyone squinting to be able to see this. So I'm currently using 18 gigs. But my mounts over here are much bigger. So right here, I have 8.3 terabytes used on the machine it's connected to and 33 terabytes available over NFS. Oh yeah, they really need to get the dark mode going. NFS permissions are a pain with Synology. They're easier with TrueNAS, I think, than Synology. That's at least my opinion. 10 gig of that old images haven't been pruned yet. Oh no, I've definitely pruned images. Everything's pruned in here. I pruned it this morning. So absolute, I do make sure that's been done. Is RX 730 XD good for a Homelab? It's long in a tooth and going to be using a lot of electricity. So that's a little bit harder. A little bit harder for me to wrap my head around right now, like as justifying it, because I'm looking over there as I got one sitting over there. There's a B-Link sitting over there and things like the B-Link. And let me grab it real quick. I look at some of these, you know, this device right here. I can't remember what model this one is. I've reviewed it before. But these little mini PCs, the Minis Forums ones, even this little NAS right here, which I know this NAS is a little underpowered, but maybe for a lot of people's home lab, it's probably adequate. That depends. I think people seem to over-index on what they need. They probably don't need that. You know, if you're just trying to run some streaming stuff, you'd be shocked at how much you can get done with a tiny little NAS like this that's reasonably affordable. And I already know, because I've tested it, everything I run in Docker would run perfectly fine on this. I've debated, like, why do I have so many servers? My use case on a daily basis is pretty low. Now, granted, if I'm going to go through and use image, I probably should be using a graphics card to help process it. So when I set up something like image, oh yeah, I need a lot more horsepower than this to process the around 100,000 photos that I have. But once it's done and processed, I could probably go back to running it on something smaller like this. But these are so low powered. I feel we're reaching an end of an era with some limited exceptions for people that need more high-end things. But a lot of these mini PCs are becoming incredibly powerful over the last few years. Their wattage, they're quiet. Their wattage is so low. The noise output is so low. I can stack a few of these together to create a high availability cluster. And I know they're going to cost more than an R730 XD right now, but boy, they might save you in the long run with some of the power requirements. Just some of my thoughts on that. Oh yeah, it's so clear. We can see the 2600s on the wall. Yeah, cheap hardware, expensive on power. For playing, why not? You have Ansible handling the pruning for you. What is the power consumption in your lab? I don't know. I don't know at the moment. I'd have to look it up. And I should set up monitoring for it. It's been on my to-do list. I just never got around to it. Long time watcher, first time catching a live stream. Question is Homelab, test learn, or self-hosted depend upon? I guess it depends. I think the B-Link ones are good. There's probably some off-brand ones that have more thermal issues. I found the B-Link ones to not overheat. What's the latest info on UniFi OS? I think it's still in beta right now, so I don't think it's at full release just yet. So we're setting up, and I have done a lot of testing with it now, so it's definitely seems to be working quite good. There was a couple minor issues, but I can't remember what they are at the moment. I think they've been fixed with the latest update. There was some problems, I think, with the ECS aggregation switches, but I think those are solved. And my friend is setting all those up so we can figure that out. Also, kind of related here, there's, the other things around me besides the 2600 books. I do have my Frack magazine, and I got more issues of 2600 floating around. These are, because I was at the Hope conference, so this is all stuff from the 2600 Hope conference. It was pretty cool. It's a cool event. I got to put that somewhere. I like hacking conferences. They're fun. I learn a lot. I always look forward to drive home work on Thursdays because I can watch the... Oh, always enjoy listening. Awesome. Yeah, no, I like doing these live streams. I did this one early because I have to be somewhere this afternoon, and I don't know exactly what time I'm going to get back. And I was like, well, exactly what time I'm coming back doesn't make live streams easy, so I'm doing this one now. Seeing some of the messages and things like that. Maybe I should do more morning live streams. It depends on what I got going on. I used to do them in the mornings all the time, and I switched to doing them in the afternoons, but I can always flip it around and do them in the mornings because after I've had my coffee and breakfast, I'm pretty wide awake. Sometimes end of the day, especially if I've had a lot of meetings or I've recorded a video, had a bunch of meetings, I'm at the end of my day for the amount of words I'm able to spew out. There comes a point when you just kind of run out of them. You're getting ready to set up a Dell R720 for a church. I'm excited to get Jellyfish server and VMS automation. I will say R720 is pretty long in the tooth. 730 is long in the tooth. 740s are becoming commonplace because there's 750s out now. So just a consideration. It's going to be a big power bill running an R720 for the power you get. Showing your age, but I've been a freaker for a long time. My original degree is in telecom. I've been trained in crossbar switch. Nice. Don't forget 2600 news groups and BBS. Oh, yeah. Just got rid of an R730 and R430. $100 for both. Yeah, you can pick up R730s and 430s. You can pick them up for cheap. They're just not. They're commonplace now, and because some people are trying to avoid some of the power bill stuff. But yeah. Okay, did that, covered that. Yeah, 760 is the current generation. Someone was hyping up Proxmox backup server. Then I sent them your EXO backup video. Yeah, that's really where there's a huge difference between these. The way the backup server works is really the huge difference between them. Having all the backups just be integrated like this, it makes it so smooth for doing things. So I did a backup and restore of this. It only takes a few minutes. The migration is things are to me a little bit more clear. Like where you see at the top here, it's on Ryzen 2 XCP&G, and we can just pop it over to there. How quick can we migrate it? I think there's pretty fast setup between these. So 9 all right, yeah, took what, about 7 or 8 seconds. Now it's on the other server. Like, I don't know, some of the things in XCP-ng to me are just easy enough and simple. But someone was upset about this. For example, if we want to make this bigger, you can't do this live. And that bothers people. I don't know. It's a minor issue. They're going to fix it when they come up with the new storage API. But not being able to expand a disk live and having to stop the VM, it should be fixed in a new issue. I would like it to be fixed now, but it's not. But it's not part of my daily routine. Not to mention, when you make the bigger, you generally have to go in and tell the OS that the drive is bigger. So there's a shutdown period that you have anyways. XCP-ng, SRIOV. Yeah, there's certain card. You have to figure out the cards that are supported. It supports it. There's a lot of discussion around which ones and which ones not. So, and that's what Oliver's talking about. And like I said, spend time in our forums. So there's limited compatibility with them. So it's not about, it does support it. Does it support the card you want is the question. And maybe that's the non-starter for you. Obviously, if it doesn't work with the cards you have or have a bunch of, then don't move to XCP-ng. But one of the things that, like the new Intel ones, does Proxmox support them? Well, I mean, Windows got a write-up in the forums of how to make it support them. It's not out-of-the-box support, so it's a matter of someone doing it. But I don't like the SRIOV hacked together as a business solution. Like, it's a fun hobby solution, but not a business solution. I just passed through the whole video card is what I'm doing because that works for my needs. So here's the video card path. And I've done videos on this, but you know, I've got a video card. I just pass it through to this particular VM. So this is my Ollama system, and I just pass the card through. I mean, SRIV would be nice, but nice to have, but it's not something I need. The new Ryzen AI boxes with 120 gigs soldered on RAM are like $2,000. You can only imagine them being good for local LLMs. I have an opinion on them. I haven't tested them, and I don't do a lot of local LLM testing. So I'm not the best person to ask because I just haven't done it. Yeah, now this is a fact. Old servers versus mini PCs, out-of-band network management, not an issue for a text box, but if your family depends on manageability and becomes a thing, especially if you're not always home. Yeah, that is definitely a challenge. And I also use it. I have a Jet KVM attached to one of the systems, but I definitely love out-of-band management. It's going to make your life a lot easier. I'm surprised that these boxes by B-Link, you know, haven't started, or Minis forums or some of those. And maybe they haven't. I'm just not up to date on this. I don't think I've seen any with out-of-band management, but it seems like just a little more, just that little extra that you could do for people would make it a good seller. Like, make a model with an extra out-of-band management port on it. Just an idea, folks. I mean, but I will also say this. The systems that I have that don't have out-of-band management, I've rarely had a problem. I set the power to be, you know, recover if power loss. They're on a UPS, so there's rarely a power loss, but that's it. They're set to recover on power loss. I haven't really had much of a problem with them. I don't have out-of-band management on my 45 drives, the Homelab server, my HL8. I don't have the motherboard with out-of-band management because I didn't like that particular motherboard, so I went with another one that doesn't have it. I've had 0 issues in a year with it that I've, you know, wanted out-of-band management for. Anytime I'm not doing remote upgrades on it. If I update to a new version of TrueNAS, which I did, maybe if that version didn't load because I'm trying a beta version, maybe there's a problem somewhere. Okay. But if there is, I'm not doing that. Hey, hold on, I'm on vacation. I need to try the beta of TrueNAS. It's usually not how my day works. I'm usually going, okay, I'm here. Let's walk through, make sure I got a backup. Let's have a plan and put an upgrade in. And I'm here in my office/studio doing it. So it's less of an issue for me to not have out-of-band management on some of the devices. Remote KVM for NAS management. Let me look at what the status is of these, because they were not easy to get, but they are my favorite ones. The Jet KVM. So the Jet KVMs are great. Reviewed them. Definitely like them. I've got a couple of them, but I don't know if you can order them yet. Or maybe there was a lot of shipping issues with them. The next ones are the GLI ones, and I have this too. These ones work fine. So I would probably say these are not a bad choice. It seemed to work fine. I haven't had any problems with it. I think my friend has it right now. I gotta look where that one is. I tested it for a while and used it. It seemed to work perfectly fine. For your switches, firewall, do you have a console switch? No. They're in waves. You have 5 of them. Okay, so I would recommend either one of these, the GLINet one or the Jet KVM. I think both of them are great. And I did play with some of the Pi KVM stuff, and I thought it was good, but price-wise, Pi KVMs are just more expensive. So Pi KVM was a cool solution. They just never got to the same price point that these devices have gotten to. Yeah, and GLINet's working on the PoE KVM as well. Well, yeah, they're based on it. I mean, they're based on the same software. Jet KVM did a whole from scratch, right? I believe GLINet is based on the Pi KVM, which, by the way, there's several other open source tools based on that, which is cool. But it comes down to the hardware pricing. I thought it was good when that one company, and they used a, what is that called? Media Winner, All Winner Media, the Media Tech chip, I think, is what they had in them. And I played with one of those for a while. It was cool, but once again, price point was still like in the $200 range. And you look at these, the little Comet KVM, one of the features of it is the price. I mean, you can't buy the Raspberry Pi and the extra accessories, because you need more than just the Pi, the extra accessories you need for this price. Yeah, BLI KVM. I had one of those. That's the other one I had. The Jet KVM, I think, is just super nice. I'm impressed with that one in terms of like just the fit and finish and polish of it. But availability has been challenging, and I hope they'll sort that out. So if you need something now and not waiting for the delivery and supply chain of the Jet KVM to catch up, either one gets the job done. Hey, Tom, love your work. Do you think true paradigm shifts still happen in tech? I think those that are trying to raise funds will tell me that it's a game changer. It's a new world out there. I'm solving things differently. And the reality doesn't usually match it. I'm not someone who's trying to raise funds. And follow people because they have an agenda. And figure out what that agenda is. My agenda is educating people. I have an agenda, just like anyone else. I like educating people. I like talking tech. I like solving problems and teaching people and getting more people in technology. So my goal is that. The agenda of, let's say, the elephant in the room, the AI companies, is to raise more money than any company has ever done in history for a product that has, and I'll quote Ed Zitron, shit unit economics, because it simply does not scale properly. For each user you add to these AI platforms, you cost them more money than you give them. Therefore, how am I supposed to scale that business model? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So they're always telling me it's a game changer. Why is it changing a game? Because it's the only words I can use as like Sam Altman or any of these people are doing, in order to explain why you should be giving me another $5 billion to light on fire. I mean, it's not that, and it's not me dunking on AI. AI's got all kinds of really cool and useful things it does, but always think about people's agenda before they tell you that we're looking at a new paradigm of tech. No, we're not. I mean, was the iPhone a inflection point that cell phones got a lot better? Yes. The concept of adding applications and having an app store and things like that, that definitely was a somewhat of a shift. But I also looked at it going, oh, look, I can apt-get install things. And that's the early days of Debian, long before the iPhone. Now we have an app store. So the concepts, we may have tooled them a little bit differently, but the concepts are still there. So as much as I think phones have changed things quite a bit, and obviously I look at my phone as something that has ruined the camera market. Who buys a small camera anymore? There used to be a whole section at Best Buy for little cameras, the little handheld ones and personal cameras. Everyone just uses their cell phone. It's pretty amazing that a device this thin works so well for that. So yeah. You scale with NVIDIA's latest upscaling GPU as collateral. Revenue shift. Yes, Synology had a shift. Oh yeah, Nano KVM. There's a few people who reviewed the Nano KVMs as well. They seem pretty good. I haven't used them, so I don't have direct experience with them. Oh yeah, the your where is the Cory Doctorow just had an article on this here, kind of talking about the circle of things. Yeah, and I agree with this. The AI bubble is driven by monopolists who've conquered markets and have no more growth potential, who are desperate to convince investors they continue to grow by moving into some other sector, pivot to video, crypto, blockchain, NFTs, AI, and now super intelligence, further the top line growth that AI companies are selling and replacing most workers with AI and retasking the surviving workers, AI babysitters, humans in the loop, which won't work. Finally, AI cannot do your job, but a salesman can 100% convince your boss to fire you and replace you with an AI that can't do your job. Yes. So that's, I don't know about forming, but I'm going to say, yeah, it's a great article. It's well cited because this is one thing I like. If you want to see, good journalism, good reporting in tech, always has all the sites linked and all the sources of how they came to that conclusion. So you can read along with them. And Cory Doctorow is amazing at the list of things he puts on here for all of the links. So here's how he came up to this. And it's a good, well-cited article. Drop the link for it? Sure. You can also Google it. The real economics AI apocalypse is nigh. I should share this on the socials as well, but it's not hard to find. But I dropped the link in there. Hopefully everyone can, I believe links can be seen after the fact and are clickable. But yeah, like I said, this is not a hate on AI or to say that it's not any type of like dislike for the AI or the technology. I love technology. That's not where the problem is. All the problems I see are with those that will try to raise capital for the sake of raising capital, but not really think about the impact it has. And they're kind of into a loop. They're buried into it because once you've given them $5 billion and it still didn't come to life, it hasn't, Frankenstein has not risen and started walking around yet. And at some point you're like, yeah, I don't know if it will. And they're like, sure it will. He's give us another $5 billion. Oh, the AI button. Oh yeah, Microsoft's sad state of AI, them jumping into things has not been good either. So they've not done a good job of that. They've done kind of a disaster of AI rollout with really bad security and all the problems related to it. But I have been going for a little while now. As much fun as I have on all of these, I do need to get some other work done. So I'm going to jump on that. Yeah, it's like I said, there's not Copilot with Visual Studio is cool. There's good things. It's not all bad. But it is a circle of companies that are all just funding each other, and it's kind of crazy right now. And I don't know what happens to, I'm going on a limb here. Maybe I'm wrong. You can message me. You can send me some money too if you want. Maybe some of you are in that circle of billionaires and you were like, yeah, this will suck, but I'm fine. But I'm going to assume a lot of us will be impacted by it because I can speak for myself for sure, and maybe a few of you, that I am not a billionaire. And I will, unfortunately, probably be in some way impacted by this. But hopefully, when this bubble or whatever it is happens, we can get really good gaming cards for really good prices. We can all just play video games. Who cares what's going on in the world? Let's just play video games together with really affordable video cards. That's what we look forward to. We'll end on a high note. I'm trying to find the positive of all this. Thank you all. Hit me up at Homelab at lawrencesystems.com, feedback at lawrencesystems.com. I think I can put that on the screen. Did I make this work yet? Kind of. Oh, yeah. I still got it's not too bad looking. I am still playing with all the graphics, but yeah, this is an email you can email me at if you just want to reach out. Hit me up in the forums. I'm in there quite a bit, having conversations with people. So come in there, say hi, debate with me. Some people like to do that, which is fine. I'm all for that because I am definitely, if you've read some of my stuff, willing to have rational conversations, and my mind has been changed by people. I won't lie. There's definitely insights I've gained from all of you. You're a bunch of smart people, and I don't know everything. I just happen to have a camera. So love engaging with all of you. See you all around, and take care. Where's the end button now? Now you get to watch me fumble around.